Unit 13, International Marketing Planning and Control. Previously, we have discussed regarding the marketing planning, where we have to go for a market research because you do not have knowledge about the international markets. So once you go for the market research, you can get an idea what kind of product, what kind of requirements of the particular market. Then exactly you can have a right kind of planning to proceed further. So when you talk about the international market planning and control, you cannot have the same kind of standardized strategy across the globe. If you are going for a standardization strategy, what will happen? This is basically depends on several factors. Maybe because of the technological disruption, technological advancement, there is a change in the consumers' perception, change in the consumers' attitudes or consumer awareness. So if you are going for a standardized practice, then exactly it will not work for your company. That is why the company will be suffering in the long run. So one strategy does not fit to for all the country. That is the submission we can put here. Second point is also we can talking about the future is methodological manner. Exactly we talk about the disruptive impact, which already I've talked about. The disruption is also bringing instability in the market. That is why you need to have a right kind of planning required to proceed further to remain sustainable in the particular market. We are talking about the first one is the standardization strategy does not fit for all the countries. You may be getting success in one country, or you are getting success in you are getting failure in another country. The one strategy does not fit, so that is why, because it has affected by so many factors which are technological disruptions and technological advancement. Also the same time also you have to understand that is exactly you have to have the right kind of planning. So this is exactly why planning is required, because there is a uncertainty in the market. Or there is a talk about last class we talked about there is a VUCA world, that is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. To minimize your risks associated with the other countries, you have to have a right kind of marketing planning and control. That is the basic requirement for the marketing planning and control. So what exactly when you talk about the international marketing planning, exactly you will be have two kinds of planning required. One is country level planning, another is corporate level planning. So both has to be aligned. So here I just wanted to put an example. Suppose in the corporation level, the company decided to penetrate in the market. So the company decided to go for huge production to achieve economies of scale, and they have implemented the strategy. But when it is they have taken the feedback from the country level, the country manager said that is exactly the product is not getting the sales as expected because of region, because of the substitute products, because of the competitive offerings. So that is the two things which has been ignored by the corporation level, but the country manager is coming across with the two things. So then exactly then when the corporation level decides to have a right alignment as far as planning is concerned, structure is concerned, and implementation is concerned, then exactly this will be fruitful. So this will works. But if you are only making strategy at corporation level and leaving everything to the country level to see, then exactly the planning does not work perfectly. That is why the mismatch between country level and corporation level has to be there as far as international marketing planning is concerned. International marketing is more than integration of the country plans for its direct coordinations. Also, this is that is exactly I have stated you. Even if you are only making a plan to go for huge production to achieve economies of scales, but you are ignoring another two things. That is one is the competitor, another the substitute products. That is why when the company manager is suggesting to go for substitute products to reduce the price of competitive products, then exactly it requires beyond only plan or only coordinations. So that is why the involves basic number of variables. What are the variables? You have to have a knowledge of the market. knowledge of the product, knowledge of the marketing systems. So if you are talking about the Indian market or other market, developing market, the developing market is all about that is that they are mostly price sensitive market. So if you are keeping the price low, then there is a possibility you are getting the attention of the target audience. But if you are not keeping, though, that is why wow the market has evolved. The market can be evolved like from introduction stage to maturity stage. Whether the market has evolved, they're talking about the EV. If we're talking about the EV is the introduction stage. It has people still are not going for EV because of there are so many concerns are there. So that is when you are entering to the other market, you have to think about whether you have the sufficient knowledge about the market. Product, the same product cannot be, because if you see the product, like we are using refrigerator as a luxury item, but whereas refrigerator used in developed country as a necessity item, where AC is a necessity item for us. That is that the change in the perception of the product differs from country to country. That is why you have to have the knowledge. If the knowledge is not the technologically convenient, maybe the developing countries they won't be accepting that product. That is why you have to have the knowledge about the product, knowledge about the marketing systems, who controls the marketing systems, whether the intermediaries, you are directly dealing with the customers. Most of the countries they are directly in the in abroad, they directly deal with the customers. They do have company, retailer and consumers. But here in case of Indian market, you have to have distributor, retailers, all middlemen. They make a big role. They play a big role when it comes to marketing. So here the three things you have to understand: the knowledge of the market, the knowledge of the product, knowledge of the marketing systems. If you are going for an international market, so when you talk about the international marketing planning, also that is you also require undertake corporation level and in long term nature while planning a short structure of international marketing. Normally follow the parameters are considered: the company's growth and dynamic natures, geographical distance, government regulations, level of political decisions, policy decisions, length of chain of command, degree of control, degree of involvement in the marketing functions. That is exactly if you talk about company like Posco, Korean company Posco, they had to leave the Odisha market, the Indian market. Why? No, because the political interference. Even if we have come across with 4 P's: product, price, place, and promotion, and we have right product, right price, right place, and price promotions, but that requires another factor that is more crucial, more significant in the Indian context, is the political factor. If you do not understand the political factors, political intentions, rules and regulations, then what happens that exactly your product may not be getting the right attention. That is why your decision has to align with the, that is whether you are able to control, or you can have a policy decisions or length of the command. That is all the things you have to take into consideration when you are going for a marketing planning. Benefits of international marketing planning. Planning is exactly you are getting a lot of benefits. Planning for international market promotes, that is exactly you have to have a proactive nature instead of reactive one. You have a proactive natures where before something went wrong, you have the right approach to deal with the market. That is why planning in the international market is gives you upper hand as far as planning is concerned. If you have the right plan, right approach, then exactly your risk can be absorbed or loss can be minimized. That is why we talk about this promotes the initiatives rather than the inactions. Business gives more control over the futures. That is because we know future is uncertain. That is why if you have the right plan, then exactly can be minimized. Companies' objective rules need to be stated clearly and precisely, that managers at all levels, including those far removed from the decisions making process, can understand them. Everybody has there is a clarity of the process. If the process are not clarified to the bottom level, then there is ambiguity as far as the process is concerned. So there will be exactly you are not getting the right reap or benefits as far as international marketing planning is concerned. That is also the organization prepares ready to move promptly and decisively in a coordinated effort, because if you have the plan, you can easily enter in the market and get the access of the market and also get the benefits of the market. These are some of the benefits of international planning. Also, that is management buy into process of developing strategy for expanding into overseas market has been shown to the boost employee engagement. If you have the right plan, then your employees can be better engaged. Retention and opportunity for the promotion within the organizations because they are your internal customers. Once your internal customers are happy, they are satisfied, they will be delivering the best services to the customers. So you can ensure your people who are working with you, they are happy and you can retain if you have a right kind of plan. Availability, efficacy of information, international market planning require the implementation, even if that is exactly, planning is better. If planning is better, you have the defined things and everything is fine, but problem lies with the implementations. So when you talk about the international planning, where the implementation part remain with the country level. So even if you have the right plan, but if the country manager or country level is not sufficient enough, then it is problem of implementations. So that is why if you have the right plan, what happens? It leads to implementation of the standardized information transmission throughout the whole organization. The information can be easily passed to the different levels and it will become that is self-sufficient to take any decision. These are the benefits of international planning. The first one we talk about, that is you can have a proactive measures. Second we talk about like clearly you have to mention what are the you are going to planning, that is you have to clearly mention, prepare ready to move promptly and decisively can take the decisions, by in process of developing strategy, expanding in other market, able to engage your own employees, retain your own employees and provide them opportunity to work so that once they are happy, they will be delivering the best services to the customers. And last issue, to increase availability, efficacy of information, international market planning requires the implementation can be better way, or it can be better it can be implemented effectively and efficiently if you have the right kind of plan. So these are the benefits of international marketing planning. So usually we are talking from this point, the issues in the international framing, international marketing plan. From the beginning, we are talking about as far as marketing mix is concerned, we have companies have always have a two approach as far as international marketing plan is concerned. The first approach is standardized one, second one is multi-domestic approach. When you talk about the standardized approach, you have all that is a similar approach across the globe, across the countries you are operating. That is your product, price, place and promotion remains same that is across the globe. But what is the problem? That is exactly when you are going for the standardizations, you can have a control or you can have a right plan. The same plan can be implemented as far as standardization is concerned. So that is why you are able to implement the things. But question arises, it has also some limitations. That is exactly, suppose the government brings, the rules or policy for dumping, then exactly what happens? Your same approach or same strategy won't work in the particular country. So that is why standardization is better for implementation, because you have a one approach for all the countries where you are dealing or where you are doing business. But problem is exactly any changes in the national level will bring a problem for your company. That is why standardization is better, but it has some limitation also. When you talk about the multi-domestic approach, we are talking about this is adaptability. You are talking about that is the market is not a homogeneous one, but in case of standardized approach, you consider is a market is a homogeneous one. But here in case of domestic market, you consider the market is a heterogeneous one. So there is a dissimilarity arises between the different markets. The marketing decision each country should be specifically cater to the needs of the particular country. Whatever marketing mix decisions you are undertaking, that has to be designed with the requirement of that particular country. That is talking about the multi-domestic market. Multi-domestic exactly is favored by some has been regarded true marketing approach. It is known as a true marketing because you try to understand local aspect, bring solutions with reference to the local markets. So that is why it is a true marketing approach. But this strategy helps to explain the strategy of multinational giant like Coca-Cola. Market is heterogeneous but standardized is possible in many decision areas. Even if you go for standardizations, look at there is a like what you are going for the multi-domestic approach, but the problem how people will consider that is exactly your products are or your price is not standardized. So many times you have to take some decision as far as standardized is concerned. But if you're dealing, basically it depends on the kind of product you are dealing with. If you're dealing with technological products or high-end products, if you are going for a standardized approach, maybe you'll be getting success. But if you are dealing with FMCG products, consumable product, frequently used product, then your multi-domestic approach may work. So that is why we talk about the two issues which are there as far as the international planning is concerned. One is standardized, because in standardized approach, you consider the whole market is homogeneous. You have the similar kind of offering, similar kind of plan as far as product price, place and promotion is concerned. Then exactly you are, but problem is sometimes you are going for the same price across the other all countries, but maybe the government brings some rule regulations as far as price is concerned, you are facing some problems. But domestic approach, you consider the local preference, local taste and preference, and products being product of marketing niche which is catered to the need of the country, which is basically known as a true marketing. But it also requires some standardized approach in certain areas. That is why the two approach we have, standardized approach or multi-domestic approach, has their own advantage and limitations. Then you talk about the what are the process of yeah, when you are going for the international marketing planning. What is the process involved as far as international marketing is concerned? So you have to have understand the first is exactly situational analysis. Situational analysis is nothing but exactly it gives you a idea about where do you stand in the competitions. Exactly it is can be dealt with based analysis, like political, economic, social, and technological analysis. It can be dealt with the strength and weakness or SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats. Where you are getting to know whether I am capable enough to grab the opportunity or it is a not a strength, it's a weakness for the company. The exactly details you will be getting as far as situational analysis is concerned. Then we are talking about the company's strength and weakness as well as environmental opportunity, because you have to have a match between strength and weakness, opportunity and threats. If there is gap exists, then exactly your marketing does not work. So that is why marketing planning tells you situation analysis, where do you stand, you understand the process, you understand the environment, what is your current positions. Then you analyze what is my strength and what is my weakness as you refer to environmental opportunity and threats. Define the objectives. What are the objectives you have defined? You would like to define your objectives, forecast, estimate sales, cost, and profits, design the marketing programs based on the objective and estimates, then decide the relevant appropriation for the plan. So, these all are the steps which are involved in the marketing. That is the process framework for international marketing process planning. So basically, you are identifying the in situations, you are analyzing the situations, identifying your strength and weakness, objective defining, you are defining your own objective, forecasting the sales and cost, designing marketing programs based on the objective and estimates, deciding on the relevant appropriation for the plan. Let us talk about an example. Suppose you identified that exactly as far as situational analysis is concerned, you identified my current position is the market leader. So when my market leader, I do have a highest market share. So many people are accepting my products, and also I remain relevant in the market. So what should be, already you have analyzed, even if the industry is catered industries, industry is a big industry, but my position is as a market leader. So I have analyzed my own strength and weakness. Also, I have identified what are the environmental opportunities and threats. But what is my objective? My objective is to retain, because being a market leader, my objective is to retain the market stage. That is the market share. That is exactly I have to. I just wanted to have a stability strategy where there is a position. The position I just wanted that position to be remain intact or with me. That is my objective. For that reason, you have to see that is what are the markets are there, whether all market is saturated. If the urban market is saturated, you have to penetrate in the rural market. Then exactly you are, when you are dealing with the rural market, you have to think about the marketing programs for urban market is altogether different from rural market. So you have to design the marketing offering for the rural market. Then you are putting the deciding on the relevant appropriations for the plan and allocating budget for the plan. Then this is example of we talk about the process framework for international marketing planning. So let us discuss one by one. So when you talk about the international planning framework for international planning, then we talk about the commitment decisions. What are the commitment decisions? The company's farms resource positions and its home markets. Does the internal market offer an attractive opportunity worth striving for? So exactly you are. That is exactly if you are seeing the opportunity which is available in the market, that is a attractive one, or the market offers an attractive opportunity, then exactly you can commit, you can enter in that particular market and grab the opportunity. But if it is not, that is not an attractive, then exactly you should not enter that market. Areas of operation decisions, whether you would like to have your manufacturing unit in the host country or in the foreign country. So where you wanted to have your, like that is production unit. So if you are getting the market is attractive one, and it is giving a lot of big consumers, most of the consumers have, that is why most of the companies they are ready to open their production unit in India, because they are getting attractive market. Along with that is they are also getting raw that is cheap raw materials and cheap labor. So that is why they are talking about the area of operations is which country is present the most attractive world as potential target markets. Entry mode and operations mode. Would you like to share the risks between your company and the local company? So when you are sharing, you are going for a joint venture or collaborations. What happens? The that is the risk minimizes. So you are planning, even if there are so many entry modes are concerned, but you wanted to which mode is giving a lot of benefits as compared to the others. Then marketing organization decisions. What are the best possible arrangement of facilities or personnel to enable the farm to have local flexibility and control systems? So what could be the same structure what is prevailing in other countries, that may not work. So that is why you have to decide whether the organization decisions has to be changed when you are dealing with the other markets. Then you are talking about the marketing mix decisions, whether the same marketing mix, product price and place and promotions will remain same for other countries or it will differ from the other countries. These are the things you take into consideration when you are going for the international planning, international marketing planning. The commitment decisions, whether the market is attractive one or it is giving, it gives signals that is there is a lot of opportunity are there. So you can go and do the business. Whether the operation decisions, whether if you see the country is a large country and with high consumption capacity, better you go there and invest there. You can have your own production unit there. Entry modes, marketing organization decisions, whether that is the possible organization arrangement of facilities. Then last we are talking about the what now, that is the marketing mix decision, whether the product price, place and promotions, whether it will remain same or differ with regard to that particular country. These are the things you take into consideration when you are going for the international marketing planning. This you talk about the your this matrix is a correlation between exactly the process involved and the decisions and the process. So we talk about the decisions are like situation analysis, SWOT analysis, objectives, sales and cost profit forecast, marketing plan budgets, commitment decisions. There are all your options when they are getting that this objective is achieved through this area of you put a tick on there. So this matrix is basically gives a brief about how both the your decisions as well as planning has to have a link. So that is the all about the international marketing planning matrix. The when you talk about the commitment decisions, what are the checklists you have to make? Already I have briefly talked about the commitment decisions based on the valid and defensive reason for entering international markets. You have to have a valid and defensible reason entering the international markets. The reason must include analysis of the corporate objectives, resources, philosophy, source of differential advantage sought in the going international. So if you are see the commitment, that is what are the commitments. Why you wanted to interested to enter into the particular country. So that is if you see the market is domestic market is saturated one. Then exactly to diversify your business or to enter into the other explore the new markets you have to go for that. That is a commitment is exactly the market is saturated. There is no scope of growth in the particular market. We have to diversify our business to other countries. Then exactly you have to enter. Then also we talk about greater profitability. If you are getting more profitable in the international market, then exactly that is also a commitment. Pre-empting the competitions. If the competition is high, that is you talk about that you to minimize the competition, you are going to the other markets because that is do not stay in the market where there is huge competition. Look for a market where there is less competition. That is you are talking about the pre-empting competitions. Excess liquidity, you have sufficient money so that you wanted to utilize your money. An alternative growth strategy, better utilization of current resource and differential advantage, excess or absolute inventory, securing supply, source of supply. So if you are getting the positive point, that is exactly to diversify the business, to explore the new market, to increase the profitability, then exactly it shows it is the best way to go for the decisions. You go for the other countries. If you say that is you are not getting a positive opinion on all these points, then exactly you do not enter into the particular country. So that is the checklist as far as commitment decision is concerned. Then you talk about the own resources, strength and weakness. When you talk about what are the document, do you have the control, domestic operation under control, differential advantage, image of the high quality for high quality, cost advantage, manpower skills, finance, patent, or marketing expertise. If you have, that is exactly most of the countries, most of the FMCG companies, they enter into the other countries only. That is exactly to leverage their brand image because they have already reputation in the market, leverage is high, so they wanted to leverage their brand. That is why they go for contract manufacturing where they are not involved in the productions, they are only involved in the marketing activities where the local suppliers, local vendors, they are producing the product, they are responsible for the distribution, everything, but only as far as marketing is brand image is concerned, product image is concerned, marketing is concerned, they are only involved on that. So where what happens, your risk is minimizing because you are getting an attractive market where you are not going to enter in that particularly directly, but with a local company, and also where you are going mostly on the contract manufacturing, involving the local suppliers, vendors to produce the product. Your role will be limited to marketing only. That is, we talk about the international framework for process framework for international marketing planning. When you talk about own objective and philosophy, what is your own objective and philosophy? The growth objective, would you like to achieve growth? You wanted to go for expansions, then exactly you have to go for the international markets. Growth strategy followed growth through expansions, product development, current products, unrelated product, growth through investment earning, attitude towards the merger and acquisitions. If your objective is a growth objective, then exactly that motivates you to enter into other markets. If your objective is not to remain stable, so you need not to enter into other markets. You wanted to remain in that particular country. So that is exactly talks about the growth objective, whether you have a growth objective of expanding the business, development of new products, growth investment earning, then exactly it encourages you to enter into other markets. Profitability required return on investment, attitude, preference regarding risks, liquidity preference, market share desire. If you wanted to have a, like suppose your objective is to become a global company, or international company, then exactly it encourages you to enter into that one particular country. So that is why we talk about the own objective and philosophy. Then we talk about the country preference. Are you going for developed countries or industrialized country or developing countries? Which country you are targeting? If your product is a high-end product, like you talk about in the product international product life cycle (IPLC), international product life cycle talks about the companies, those who are importers, they will become the exporters. And later on, they will become the importers. What happens now? Because your target market remains in the initial stage developed countries, later stage the developing countries becomes your target audience. So your country preference exactly, because when you are dealing with the developing countries, the same product may not work. You have to bring all together different products, different price, promotions, and place for the developing countries. But if you are dealing with the developed countries, then exactly the same product or standardized approach may be preferable. But if it is a like developing countries, this is not preferable. So that is why I wanted to enter. The areas of operation checklist. What are the areas? Internal environment, of relations between domestic country and the country chosen, whether there is a good relationship, traffic and non-tariff barriers in the country, current stability of control, currency control, infrastructure cost, country rate required. So these are the things you are looking after as far as operation decision checklist is concerned. So here you are talking about whether the domestic country and the country where you wanted to enter, whether they have a better relationship, because otherwise that will lead to explorations. Already we have talked about that. Explorations, what is exactly, maybe one day they will ask you to get out of the country. So you wanted a long-term relationship with that country. So what is the relationship between domestic country and the country chosen has to be taken into consideration, because you are dealing with the other countries. Tariff, non-tariff barriers, currency stability, currency control, infrastructure cost, and current trade requirements. These are the points you have to see when you are going for the area of operation as far as decisions area is concerned. Area of operation decision checklist: local environment, government stability, economic development, growth rate, developed and developmental policies, influences, government control and regulations, local business culture, whether the ecosystem. Government is creating an ecosystem where everybody wanted to do business. So that is, they have an intention, they have a right intention to push investment. They wanted the foreign companies should come, must come, they visit, they spend money on our on our country to create employment and productions. So if they have the right intentions, then exactly it is possible to go and see as far as operation decision is concerned. So if you see the business ethics and the respect for contracts, catalyzations. Catalyzations is exactly, that is in 4 or 5 countries, the 4 or 5 companies, they are mostly controlling the market. So you have to, because they will be deciding the price, you cannot have the control over that. So all these things you just wanted to evaluate when you are going for the operation decisions in the international marketing. The government stability, economic development, growth rate, development policies, influences, government control and regulation, local business culture, philosophy towards cooperation, corporations, competitions, business. Because government is, suppose government has an intention to government is bringing both private companies, public sectors, as well as international companies to have a healthy competition, where the intention is very clear. They wanted to have a healthy competitions. So ethics is, they are promoting ethics, or they are creating an ecosystem where everybody wanted to be part of the ecosystem. So if that is you are getting, then it is a good sign. That is exactly the government is encouraging for a healthy competition, so you can enter and do your business. Then market infrastructures, whether the availability, already we talk about the marketing data, research skills, literacy, media, art agencies, because you, when you are entering to the other countries, you just wanted to see, besides your product marketing mix, whether the supporting activities, that is ready or that is favorable as far as your decision is operation decision is concerned. The supportive activities you talk about the technological aspect, the infrastructures, the literacy rates, artisans distribution facilities, the all are the supporting facilities. If supporting facilities are well established, then exactly you can go market structure and demand, consumption pattern and buyer behavior, consumption pattern and buyer behavior. So that is why if you see most of the countries they wanted to establish their footprint in the Indian market because the market has become a that is a conducive one, and the government is taking decisions in favor of the corporates. So when people are mostly have the mobility, they are going for the new international brands. So all the points you are getting favorable, then exactly you would like to enter in that particular country. That is, you talk about the marketing infrastructure, marketing structure, and demands. Financial needs analysis. Short term, you are not going for short term. Investment needs sales volume forecast, profitability, long term taxations, currency stability, convertibility. So all the points comes under the what we talk about the financial need. The financial need exactly whether the investment the government is allowing free flow of currency capital from one country to another country. There is no problem at all. We have access to investment from across the globe. So that is why your decision depends on the financial needs and analysis, the stability of the currency and convertibility. Because already you have talked about that whoever enters in that particular country, his objective is to generate profitability. And if he's not getting profit, then exactly that company is not interested to enter that particular country. That is why what now that is they see whether we are getting the right profits or maximizing our profits. If you enter to the other country, that is why they are going for the financial need analysis. And overall suitability, country X fits the regional approach, country X as a part of the global market portfolio. If you are overall, if you see that is your company is suitable and is getting can leverage the demand, then exactly you can enter to that particular country. This is you talk about the financial analysis and overall suitability. So then exactly you talk about the what about the objectives. Your objective is sales volume expected during the initial periods, market share, profitability, operations, the more likely negative profit during a build-up periods, permissible risk exposures. Going for fast profit, then leave versus aiming for a lasting commitment, philosophy of ownership, joint ventures, data feedback for future decisions, acquisition of data. So what is your objective? Your objective is to remain stable, or you wanted to expand the market, or you are generating profit. If that is exactly you are getting, then it shows that is your policy or approach is appropriate enough to enter into the other countries. So your planning is successful. Then objective talk expected in the initial periods. We talk about that also. That is next is we talk about the what about the mode of entry in the market, whether you are going for exports, because already we have talked about that. Each mode of entry has its own advantage and disadvantage. Only when you are going for the exports, you are not involved in any kind of marketing activities. So that is one of them. Direct post sales through local sales branch, licensing, franchising, technology transfers, foreign direct investment, wholly owned assembly or integrated production facilities. If you see from all this, you are talking about licensing and franchising is one of the, if you wanted to have your own presence established, then licensing franchising is the best way to enter into the other markets. So this is exactly talk about the mode of entry in the foreign markets. So what about the marketing mix strategy? What about the marketing strategy? Overall, the concept of our international marketing strategy should be related to local objective, to our notion of differential advantage. The objective, the strategy you are taking at the corporate level has to match with the local level. If it does not match, then what happens? Exactly, your strategy will definitely fail. So that is why the strategy you are undertaking at the corporate level has to align with the local level. Market niche, if market niche manship is short, you are targeting a small markets, you are only specific markets, then exactly you have to think about the strategy. Rational for completed differentiation from the domestic strategy. If such deviation are often desirable or inevitable, to lessen synergy has to be justified. That is, you have to have a justifications as far as synergy is concerned between the corporate level and the country level. That is, and whether you want same segmentation which is prevailing in other countries that work in your particular country, that is where you wanted to enter. If that does not work, you have to come with a new approach, new way of segmenting that local markets. Then that you talk about the marketing mix strategy checklist, where we are trying to understand whether the strategy you are undertaking at the corporate level should match or align with the national level, country level. If it is matches, then it is okay. If it doesn't match, then you have to bring all together different strategy for the local markets. So this is we talk about the strategic part. Then you talk about the marketing mix implications. What the marketing mix implication? When you talk about the price where you are going for, if your object, what is your objectives? If your objective is to penetrate in the market, you get more market shares, then exactly what happens, you have to go for the penetration pricing strategy. You wanted to only get the have the control over the chunk of the like which chunk that is the that is upper part of the market, the premium segment you wanted to only that is actual. Then you have to go for the skimming versus penetration price relative to current potential competitor price relative to the firm's policies elsewhere. So that is exactly what kind of pricing you will be going for. That exactly the strategy itself will decide. If you are going for a penetrations, if you see that is the market is altogether different, you wanted to not want to deteriorate your brand image in other markets, you wanted your brand image should remain intact, then you have to go for the skimming one. So that is differs as far as price is concerned. Promotion and intelligence, we talk about the promotions. Substantial resources are to be committed, including plan for measurement of promotion effectiveness. Wherever you dealing with, that is you have to think about, because the promotion is all about to create awareness or persuade or recall. So if they are able to create awareness, which requires a lot of investment, budget for promotional activities, promotions and intelligence, you have to see whether that is their resources are can be commit, they can be can be provided as far as promotion and intelligence is concerned. Distribution channels, mode of intermarket functions to be performed by channel members or distribute exclusive or not. There are three kinds of distribution channels already we have talked about that you are going for. Whether you are going for a intensive distribution, selective distribution, and exclusive distribution. Everything has to align with your marketing strategy. You are targeting the premium segment, then your distribution will be exclusive. You are targeting the economic segment, then your distribution should be intensive. You are targeting a mid-range product, your distribution channel will be selective. So it all depends on the corporation level. The corporate level and the country level has to sit together and design, or any suggestion from the country level should be taken care by the corporation level. So that is why you talk about the distribution channels. Customer services, post-transaction services, service warranty systems, spare parts locally manufactured, procured versus imported from home country. Because exactly, if it is requires services once the customer purchase the product, then there is a requirement of services. How services can be managed? Can services be managed through the local product and sources? That is exactly. So here we are talking about the pricing part. Which pricing part you will be going for? Are you going for a price skimming, price penetrations, or you are going for a current or potential competitions? So exactly that is you have to decide. When you talk about the promotion and intelligence, whether you talk about the budget, the price we are allocating as far as promotion is concerned, now we are going to allocate huge amount of money as promotion is concerned. Because see the company like Uber. What happened? They initially the exactly the strategy. Most of not Uber, most of the international companies they have an objective to penetrate in the market. For that reason, they always know the market will develop in the market. Anything is offered free, anything is offered discounted, people are accepting easily. So Uber, what they did, they started with free rides in the initial year time, where people started going by Uber if you wanted to go to office or any other place. It has after some days it has become a once that has become a because they continue the offers or free rides till it has become a habit of the people. Once it becomes the habit of the people, people are not ready to leave because habits die hard. So that is why once it become a habit of the people, people are not living that habit. So they will be paying whatever you are pricing. That is you talk about the strategy. Mostly the international companies they follow as far as price is concerned. Promotion, it's the same thing is promotion. When you talk about the promotion exactly they have a promotional they know that this top of the mind recalls. If you are spending more on promotional activities, then exactly it is becoming a top of the mind recall. Once it is becoming a top of the mind recall, that will lead to top of the share of the heart leads to market share. So exactly we are talking about here that is if you are spending huge amount of money, you are getting a positive result as far as promotion and intelligence is concerned. When you talk about the distribution channels, what are mode of the distribution channels? The distribution channels, whether you are going for a selective or exclusive, because that is talking about H&M, they never go for any distribution partners where they always have their stores in the malls and in the posh areas. Why? Because they wanted to establish IKEA, the international brand. They wanted to have their distribution channels in the selective places, exclusive distribution. Because why? Because whatever, because being an international company, they offer it is through it is available everywhere. It will happen. What happens? It will deteriorate their brand. That is why they are not interested for to go for the selective or they go to intensive. They always prefer to go for the exclusive one. Customer services part, which is a mostly required once the people purchase the product. When customer services can be standardized, can be personalized. If you are targeting a broad segment, then your strategy customer services will be standardized. It has to be easily available, easily acceptable by each and every customers. Then if it is not available, then exactly you have to go for the personalized. Personally, if you're targeting in narrow market, then you are going for the personalized customer services. Exactly, whether we are ready to go for a personalized customer services or standardized customer services, that is exactly you have to decide as far as customer services is concerned, because post purchase there is a huge requirement as far as customer services is concerned, and if you are not able to provide, then exactly it also deteriorates your brand image. That is why the marketing mix implication of the strategy has to be aligned with whatever the strategy you have taken. That has to align with the marketing mix. If the your strategy of targeting the niche segment, then you will be offering something is unique products, something is very special products, keeping the price high, going for the exclusive, and you are going for a customer services which is more personalized. And if you are talking about your strategies to achieve the broad market, then exactly you will be going for a penetration pricing strategy. Promotion, you are going for a huge promotions, you are going for mass media promotions, not selective media mass media promotion, but in case of niche market you are going for selective. Here you are going for the mass media promotions. Distribution will be selective or intensive because you wanted to reach to the any customers, any part of the country. And customer services you are going to have a standardized approach. That is where the strategy and the marketing mix has to be go together when you are talking about the international planning. Then exactly, even if you have a right plan or you are putting the things in a best way, or that is you have the right coordinations, right marketing plan, everything is perfect, but still there is a deviations. So deviation occurs at every point. To manage deviations, you have to have a control mechanism. So when you control mechanism, that is basically when you talk about it is basically challenging task. Because why? Sitting in other countries and controlling the world becoming a challenge. But it has become now like somewhat it is becoming now easier because you are have access of technology. So technology is minimizing your work, but still we have to understand the control mechanism. That is where we have to control to minimize deviation or leakage. That in order to perform an optimum profit level consistently we are talking about consistently. If we are talking about consistently, the all areas need to be systematically controlled and coordinations. Consistent you wanted to achieve, then all functional areas, your marketing, HR, finance, all areas has to be systematically controlled and coordinated. If it is coordinated, then exactly what will become easily you can control the activities. Otherwise, there is a problem as far as control mechanism is concerned. When you talk about the control sequence, what exactly you have already we have talked about that. You have set the objectives, establish objective, then you talk about set standards, you are setting a benchmark or standard. Locate responsible, allowing assigning responsibility, then establish communication with people who are there. Then you see that is a continuous review of results because already you have delegated the things. You have delegated the things because you have already established the objective, already established the standards, and given the assigned the responsibility and communicated the responsibility. Now you will be continuously review the results. If you see there is a deviation in each in some phases. Suppose you are saying to have achieved a market share of this percent. That is exactly when you compare the you have you have taken a target of 50%, but you have achieved the target of only 20%. So where you are went wrong. So that is exactly continuous review of results. Then where you see there is a problems, you have to take corrective measures, corrective actions. Once you are taking the corrective measures, then exactly reassess the objective and modify. You are modifying. Then review methods and modifying if needed. Reconsider standards and modifying and review locations and finally you are communicating. So that helps you to have a control mechanism to know where we are going wrong or where there is a deviation, where there is a leakage. So this is exactly the process which follows by most of the companies because they know that is if you are dealing with the international market, even if the control is one of the challenging one, but can be controlled. Can be controlled if you have the right approach. So what should the approach? You establish the objectives, set the control methods, set standards, locate responsibility, establish communications, then exactly assess where you are going from, where there is the deviations. So once you identify the deviations, then you talk about you take some corrective measures. The corrective measures definitely will give you that is you have to reassess the objectives, you have to go for the review methods again, you reconsider the standards, review location of responsibility, evaluate the process and modify the needed. So you have to again you rework. You are reworking on the process to see to manage the leakage or to manage the deviation. That is why this is known as the control system or control sequence. It helps us to minimize the deviations. That we talk about the control sequence. Then you talk about what are the company control sequence. You talk about there are ways of control sequencing. What are the ways? The first one is company records. Depending on the information needs, some companies are primarily interested in analyzing aggregate sales profit figures of their overseas business, supplemented by routines of reporting systems. These types of analysis may give an idea of overall positions. Already, I have cited you examples with the profit has deteriorated, sales has deteriorated, why deteriorated, region of deteriorations, retarget, re-establish objective that exactly the company wants. The company's data itself will give you the impetus or give you the regions of deviations. So once you are identifying the regions of deviations, exactly you are working on that and it will give you the best results. That we talk about the company records. The data company has that provides you the best ways to manage the deviations. Then you talk about the periodic inquiry. If you have a periodic inquiry, quarterly inquiry you have, quarterly you see where is a problems, because each country they have a quarterly target where we are went wrong, whether which region has given the provided less cells. What could be the regions? Maybe certain regions they have taken this work on this, they start working on this, they see where they went wrong, then they periodic. Periodic is one of the best way to minimize deviation, because you have a regular checkpoints as far as the control consequence is concerned. Every point you check where there is a you are going wrong. So that is the periodic inquiry. Then we talk about routine reporting and monitoring systems. Routine reporting, private companies which prefer centralized control tend to develop and implement a monitoring system. Most of the companies now follow this. Now, because it is become as the technology has been enabled to have a centralized control systems sitting in USA or Singapore or in Europe, you can control the whole world because you have the data, you have the monitoring systems. So which monitoring system which helps you to understand where there is a gap, where there is a leakage. The reporting formats are designed to make the interpretation of variance possible. This monitor system includes routine reports by the field sales personnel and channel. Companies also have what ERP, enterprise resource planning. So even the CEO of the company or the top management of the company sitting in in places in the the headquarters can monitor where there is a problems. So that is exactly is the way of routine reporting and monitoring systems. Then evaluation and corrective actions. Once you identify where there is a problem, the control process is all about evaluations. Once you identify the problem, then exactly you are taking corrective actions, because already you have set the standards that we talk about the evaluation one. So exactly when you talk about the control mechanism, we have control systems. That is, we have already defined them. What are the process of control mechanism? Because already you have established the objectives, select control methods, and set standards. Look at responsibility, establish communications, and you reassess where there is a problem, or you evaluate continuous review of the results, and if you see there is a deviation, you ask for the corrective actions. Then exactly what are the ways of that is, you can have company records, periodic inquiry, also you go for, and exactly you go for routine reporting and monitoring systems. Then also you, that is, you have designed, mostly the companies they have designed that things which is mostly on how to get the things where there is a problem, everything they have defined. So that is why they have the correct evaluation and corrective actions. So today this is we talk about the two things we talk about. One is the first one is we talk about the operational of the planning part, where we have come across with so many approaches. Even if you go for standardized approach, there is a possibility of problems. There is a like what the you cannot the same cannot be adaptable by each and every country. Even if you are going for the domestic approach, there is a requirement of standardizations. Even if you are going for a right kind of plan, but still you see there is some deviations. As far as deviation is concerned, you have getting some deviations, so you have to have a right control mechanism. The control mechanism can minimize your deviation, can exactly minimize the leakage so that your objective can be achieved in a due course of time. So this is exactly we are talk about the company records, periodic inquiry, reporting, routine reporting, and evaluation of corrective actions. This is all about the planning and the control as far as market international marketing process is concerned. With this, we are concluding this session. Thank you.